Thank you for coming here to see this presentation. I will try my best English. It's not the best of the world, but it's mine. Speak up? Yeah. Okay, I will try to speak up for you. Because we don't have a micro, so do you listen to me at the end? Yes, at the back? Okay. So, to introduce myself, I held a PhD in History and Archaeology by the Autonomous University of Madrid and the Complutense University of Madrid. And I'm not the kind of person that spend 10 minutes talking about the curriculum, so that's all. It's my maximum degree. And I moved to San Antonio 10 years ago. Nothing related with my career. So we moved, the whole family, we moved here, and I need to start again from scratch. So I was studying there the European prehistory in something like 500,000 years ago, and everything with dead people dead long time ago. So coming here in San Antonio and the United States, I was surprised by some people when I started this book. We will talk of these 3 books in a minute, because I was just transcribing some very old books, and in some presentations, a woman came to me and hugged me, because she was a descendant of one of the persons recorded in the book. So that was a shock, because coming to study people dead 500,000 ago, then you have contact with someone alive. So, and that's amazing. For me, that was amazing. So I enjoy a lot to give presentation groups like you, descendants of the people that made history in this land. So I enjoy it a lot. Well, everything started with this book, this small book, which is bilingual, because I wanted for these small books for people to don't have excuses. So it's in Spanish, it's in English. You have to read it. I'm sorry. So many people were saying, no, it's in Spanish. Well, why not? Why not? Even if you are old, why not to try to read some Spanish? Okay, because it's a very good language. It's a very rich language. Why not? But it's up to you. And then I started with San Antonio de Valero, the foundation, and this one is in English. Everything is in English. It's about the foundation of San Antonio, the founding of San Antonio more than 300 years ago. Remember that we celebrate in 2018 the 300 years of the foundation of the city, of the founding of the city. Yeah, I will try. I will try.
Stand further up. Maybe.
What?
Stand further up so they can hear.
Okay.
Please.
So, people knew that I was a historian and archaeologist, but I didn't have a job related to that. So one day, they asked me, "Oh, we don't know. Is right with X or with J? Texas."
Oh, Texas.
So I started to pull the thread, and that was a revelation, because I started to find everything in the documents, in the Spanish documents, that leads me now today to write the Presidio book. Because everything that I touched was in some way misunderstanding, misinterpreted, was just corrupted in so many. The American historiography is accusing the Europeans to be Eurocentrist, right? That they are telling history just from their point of view. But my goodness, the American historiographers do the same in an American way. So we cannot do this because we are changing history. And even in the few small things, I found that if you are accurate with that, the narrative is totally different, just from the base. So this is something that I started to do, and the result is the Presidio book. The Presidio book is around 200 documents. It's just about documents. I didn't add any literature. I didn't invent anything. So it's just the main characters of the history telling what happened. So it's about documents. Let's start with this. So I started with this, and then the problem in San Antonio, in Texas, in America, is that they don't want to read Spanish. And believe me, the 99% of the documents written for 300 years in all this part of the country are written in Spanish. So if you don't want to read Spanish, what are you writing about? There is a woman with a now PhD with a thesis dissertation of the Carancaguas Indians in the coast of Mexico. You know those Indians that the French told us that they were cannibals. Well, I'm not so sure. Okay, for many things. Well, that woman in his first paragraph, and this is a representation of what the American historiography looks like. In the first paragraph, just said, I didn't take in count the Spanish documents because the friars writing were kind of fantasies. This is in a doctoral thesis, and she got the PhD. So this is what happens with history. So we gotta do something, and what we do, what I did, is just start from scratch in everything. Start from scratch. Took a white piece of paper, read the documents, and start. And I don't want to read or the American authors or the Spanish authors. I don't want to read anybody. I just the documents, and it's about the documents. This is the same presentation that I gave in Brussels last year, and is the most complete. Okay. So these three books is about the transcription, exact transcription of the record books of the mission San Antonio de Valero, which is the first mission that the Spaniards established in San Antonio, in what is now San Antonio City, right? There we have 5 missions, and this is the principal of those 5 missions. So we have books like this. This is the first book right in Texas. It was written by the friars in the mission. So it's the recording of all people born, married, and interred, buried in San Antonio Mission. And because the San Antonio Mission was established 13 years before the establishment of a regular church, all people, including the Presidio soldiers, were recorded in this box. Okay, not only the natives, not only the Indians, all people. And this is kind of the piece of art that we have in this box. And nobody did this before, after 200 years. So that's a problem because it's in Spanish, so those documents are not important, so don't do it. Just talk about, with all respect, about Lady Bird Johnson and the flowers in the highways, and no, this is the true certificate, birth certificate of the city of San Antonio. And I'm sure that you have the same in Santa Fe, in Albuquerque, and everywhere.
So are these books books, were they also put on microfilm?
Um,
Did you
well,
actually read the documents out of the original books?
no, I don't need it, and I will explain in a minute. Okay, there is a problem with the microfilm. Microfilm is a very old technique, and it's very difficult to read documents in a microfilm. So this is I will go very, very fast. This is the 3 books that you get here. There is one dedicated to the burials, another one to the burials, the baptismals, and the marriages. Okay? 3 books we have. We have the lack to have the 3 books because in many places we don't have these 3 books because of the fire, because of the water, because of the revolution, because of many things. So we are very lucky to have this. This is one of the main pages. It's a beautiful piece of art. And what I did was to reproduce every single comma that we have in the document. And I even tried to respect I'm sorry, but I'm not invisible, so to respect the structure of the document, okay, in that way. And this is this not, because those are the translations, and I will tell you in a minute, those are the transcriptions. So transcriptions is to reproduce the original to something more easy to read, okay? And the translation, obviously, is the translation from these books to this in English. And that's the problem, that the documents are in this shape. Well, shape. Okay, so they offer me to wear gloves, and I said, no, I don't need it. Please give me a high-definition pictures, and I work with high-definition pictures, not touching.
High definition.
High definition.
High definition.
So it's a new technique that the picture has more or less pixels, and that is a picture with, I don't know, maybe 20 megas of pixels of the maximum. So you can zoom it, and you have it the picture very well. You can read in many ways. So that's the problem. Okay? So water came from the top. Those books maybe were in a I don't know, in a where some water were coming, and the ink is a pigment. It's a pigment that you dissolve in water, and you write with that. But the problem is when water comes again, just dissolve the writings. So we have documents like in this shape. Okay, in others, we even lost material. Okay, so that's the. In other cases, depending on how much ink you put on the water, the ink is strongest or is soft, and the ink in the back of this page just go through the paper and appears on the front. So this is the kind of documents that we see in the archives. I understand why they don't want to read the Spanish, because some documents are in this shape. But hey, we have millions of people speaking Spanish, so just ask someone to do it for you. And what I did with the data that I found in these books was a database, and I recorded every single data in the books, every single. The records are very repetitive, but among the records in every single, the friars just wrote something that is interesting for history. For example, today just ended the epidemic, and you can cross all those data. Imagine the baptismal has 1,600 records. There is a lot of data that you can cross, and you get an idea of the history. So far, the American historiography told us that the missions were like restaurants. So the friars came, opened the gates and the doors, and say, okay, customers, come here. And this is not what happens. What happened is that the Spanish, the crown, with the friars, came here and established a mission using for that families, some group of families, in origin at the beginning from Tlaxcalteca nation, and they will act as a model for the new neophytes that came to the mission, right? In that way, the natives around there just look at the mission, look at other natives wearing Spanish dresses like Spaniards and acting like Spaniards, and in some, because of some reasons, they say, okay, I want to be like them. And they came to the missions. So there is not all of this propaganda, all of this legend about the forced conversions, they wanted to come to the missions because they get a long and continuous supply of food, and also protection against Apaches, for example, against aggressive natives. And they were living as a pueblos, okay? And I will see you all this data. For example, in this column, the J column for me, there's nothing important, it's the name I gave it, but it's a lot of numbers, right? Each of these numbers is a record. So this record, for example, this one, Maria Josefa, from the Payaya Nation, there were the natives living around the mission in San Antonio, is related to all of these records. It's related how? Because it's the daughter, is the mom, is the sister, is related to all of this. So doing that database, I found that there are 4 generations of families living at the missions. And they were held by a friar and a Presidio soldier. So you cannot tell the people that those 2 persons were enslaving those 400 natives at the missions along 4 generations, along for 80 years. So the missions were pueblos, where the natives were living their lives, growing their crops, having a life like the friars told them, like the Spanish were living, protecting against the Apaches. Okay, so the missions weren't concentration camps or enslavement camps. And this is about data. This is not about, this is Spaniard, he's coming here, changing our history and blah, blah, blah. No, this is data.
Can you repeat that again about concentration camps?
Yeah, I'm telling that the data is saying that the missions weren't concentration camps or enslavement camps, were not. And all the missions, and we got many documents, were protected by a single Presidio soldier, one single soldier, teaching the natives how to defend themselves against the Apaches attacking the missions. Not with a slash putting them to work. So the difference, we have that the system is not working in that. The mission system is not working to enslave people. For that, you got to go to the Louisiana, to the 13 colonies, right? You got to go there, and you will find that plantations where the black slaves were working. And they were working with 20 riders with slashes and with guns to put them to work. We don't have those 20 or 30 people putting the blacks to work, to the natives to work in the missions. There were only one Presidio soldier. And that Presidio soldier was called the mayordomo. And mayordomo in Spanish, in that root, means the person who takes care of the dome, of the house, of the home. right? Mayordomo is one of the presidio. I've been in San Saba. You know San Saba, where is in Menard, in Texas. There were another presidio, and I've been there a couple of weeks, past week. And they are taking care of the presidio, like you. They are having reenactors and all of that the whole year, right? And they asked me about that. They thought that mayordomo was a rank in the Spanish army. Not. It is the person that would take care of the mission, the soldier. And this is something that we have in Santa Fe, right? This is the statue that you find in the garden of the cathedral, right? So it's a beautiful, because represents what the Spaniards bring. Okay. Yes, they took things as well, the potato, the tomato, the coffee, the chocolate, all of that, and they bring to Europe. So it was an exchange. Okay, and beautiful.
Let me make a comment about that. I was one of the creators of that statue.
Congratulations. I love it.
The purpose for putting that statue up was in 1998, the state of New Mexico celebrated its Cuatro Centenario, 400 years. And we built that statue to honor the first Spaniards that came to New Mexico. And myself, Socorro Arawan, and former Ambassador Frank Ortiz, and Bernie Romero, who was an architect, helped us. We came up with this idea, starting from the bottom with the animals and all the way up to the cornerstone of the top of the statue, which is, at that time, La Conquistadora. Her name was Nuestra Señora de los Rosarios. And she's on the top, and if you notice, the main thing was to represent what Spain brought to New Mexico. Then the next thing was, the animals, the fruit. Then when New Mexico was settled by Juan de Villanueva, that he came with settlers, with farmers, and we depict the farmer, his wife, and a little child. Then we depict the next thing over was the Spaniards brought religion.
Friar.
Then on the other side of the statue, we have a soldier who came to protect the settlers. And then on the top of the monument is that they brought the religion with them, and they brought the patron saint, who was Nuestra Señora de la Rosario. Later on, the name was changed to Nuestra Señora la Conquistadora. And we came up with this idea to have a statue to honor the first Europeans, the Spanish, that came to New Mexico, to depict that they didn't come as conquerors, but as settlers. And that's what we tried to depict in the statue.
No, I love it.
Pardon me?
I love it.
Yes, it's a beautiful statue.
What I don't get is how you protect it for so many years.
Okay.
Because all other statues just disappear.
Yes. Well, for some reason or another, we've been blessed, and this one statue in Santa Fe has not been attacked. We've had other statues in Santa Fe that we've had in the park that have. Our second colonizer of New Mexico, who was Don Diego de Vargas, yes, they attacked it, they removed it, our mayor moved it, and we've had monuments in Santa Fe that our mayor and the Native organizations that don't like us have fought to get rid of our monuments. But we've been blessed that they have not attacked this statue. But if you look at the statue and the meaning of the statue of what the Spanish brought, it was what the Spanish brought to help the natives improve their way of life, such as the animals. The horse, on the other side is the horse, the cow, the pig, the sheep, the chicken. The Indians didn't have that.
The books, the music.
And the other side of the monument, right here, it shows both. At the time that the Spaniards came, and the music, the guitar, there was no books. There was no music, instruments. There were the foods that are on there. And a lot of the stuff that the Indians claimed that were theirs, if you study the monument will prove that it was the Spaniards that brought it. Now, a lot of the food, vegetables that the Spaniards brought were foods that were only grown in the Americas, but in Mexico, not up here, such as the potato, the lettuce, the different kinds of vegetables, watermelon, cantaloupe. The native Indians of New Mexico, they didn't, at that time, didn't have those fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
And now...
You are suffering. I will explain all of this in a minute.
But it was a great honor to be able to do that.
I know it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I love and we have that monument in this magazine. I put this monument in this magazine. The first moment I came to Santa Fe, my first trip, I didn't came to the cathedral. I didn't see the monument. And you have it, this page right here. Okay. So and this is a monument that people in Spain love it. I told them I found this, and since 2 years ago I'm explaining what happened with this monument in my presentations around Spain, and they love the meaning and the symbol of this statue. So thank you, Albert. So talking about that, from the mission books came that the natives approaching to the mission and weren't already baptized, okay? They were called gentiles. And what means gentiles? What means Gentiles? So this is a good word, right? Curiously, gentiles. Yes, we have in some words, in some pages, we have just a few that they call barbarians, but not these natives. They call barbaros to the natives attacking and killing other natives, and this is something that I will tell you in a minute along this presentation, that you need to change that idea that the Spaniards, all of them came here and do whatever, and 300 years later they just live in boats, in ships. No. Most of the north of Mexico City, just Zacatecas and Guadalajara and some cities just north, but north of that, the Spaniards were mestizos and were Christianized Indians. So they called them Spaniards just because they were baptized. Once you get the baptism, you became a Spaniard. And this is what happens in the documents. And you will find this in my books because, for example, this is something for a minute because I'm blowing up my own presentation. So this is the same record in a French Franciscan mission in Louisiana. The name changes, and the name is Savages. So the French call the natives Savages, the natives at the missions. And they belong, so Marie-Louise, born of a Savages belonging to Mr. Dauphin. So the French, in the documents, are talking about enslavement, the French. And they call them Savages. The Spaniards in the records call them Gentiles. So, from the very beginning, things changes. Okay, a lot. The treatment you give to others, to the natives, is very different from the Spanish way because of the Catholicism and because of the kings, the crown, change a lot. And you know this, right? This is a plaque that you have in the monolith in Santa Fe, in the main plaza, in the Plaza de Armas in Santa Fe. There were Savages again, in English. So in English language, they call them Savages. Spanish call them Gentiles. Yes?
That's partly the reason, well, actually, that is one of the reasons why the Soldiers' Monument and the obelisk was torn down, led by a mayor.
I don't understand why. Because
Because of that.
you already scrapped the word savage.
It was
Change the plaque, but don't turn down the monolith.
Yeah.
So this is a nonsense that those signs bring to us. Everything is politic. Everything is. This is not politic. This is history, and this is the history of all of us. And if we are in this way, it's because of our history, not. Okay.
Let me add one more thing, if I may. By the time that statue that he was talking about was established in Santa Fe, the Anglo-Americans had taken over Santa Fe. So when they established it, it was the wording of the Anglo-American more than anything else that appeared on it.
I know. I was several times in the Santa Fe Museum, History Museum, and I have some. Okay, what about the missions? The missions has alcalde, right? Síndico, has fiscal, alcalde, gobernador, regidor, alguacil. So alguacil is police. So the natives inside the missions were living with their own policemen, with their own alcaldes, with their own regidores, everything. What Spain did was to establish the same legal administration that they had in Spain in America. And the missions were governed by themselves, by the natives, with their own alcalde, with their own policemen, with their own fiscal. And fiscal is very important because it's the one to taking care of them of money. Yeah. So fiscal is not fiscal is we give that name to the person who is acting as an accuser in the judgments, but there are another fiscal which is the one who take care of the money and the missions. So that brings us the idea that the friars at the mission were only teachers, teaching them how to live in a Spanish way, because all the people were elected. They elected themselves. So, and this is changing a lot, the narrative. Okay, so we have only in the baptismal book, we have only, you can do it with the software that we have, you can do it. Okay, look for me how many words are related to a slave. Esclavo, esclava, esclavismo, all of this. Only 2. And we have 500,000 words in the book. Only in 2, they were esclava. And those were people not living at the mission, outside of the mission, because people get the right to be married, to get baptized at the mission, even if you are not living at the mission. And we have Juana María de Abonsa, who was a slave of José Antonio Rodríguez, and she was acting as a godmother. So if she wasn't free, how you could act as a godmother? 200 years ago, 300 years ago, the Catholic Church was more strict than this, because the godparents take care of the kids in case of the parents die. Right? If they are not free, how they could take care of the kids? So maybe that esclava is more related to that in English we can say that a step. So you took some people that are orphan, and that happens a lot because was a very violent time in a very violent environment, and people die, and they took care of the kids a lot. And in some cases, they took care of kids that probably is my interpretation. This is my opinion. I don't have proofs of that. But given a thought, probably those called esclavos were the orphans that a family took care of them. Is my opinion. Okay?
Can I add to your opinion? In the way I'm interpreting it, that if the Spanish at that time, if that lady that was a slave, if they didn't have respect for the lady that was a slave who was asked to be a godmother of their children, it tells me that there was a lot of respect, and there wasn't a forced kind of like of slavery like they accused the Spanish of doing.
The point here is that we have Hollywood. And we were taught by Hollywood, right? And we have on our minds, we have an archive of images. So when you see the word slave, it became the black slaves with the slashes, and this is the memories that we have are made by movies, are not made by books, are made by movies. We remember by images, not by letters, by images. So what we have in our mind? The images that we see in the Hollywood movies. So slaves is blacks, is slaves, is forced work, is many things. Okay, maybe this is different. And the other one is a mulatto libre, José de los Reyes. Another point, Juana María de Abonsa. So she had a last name. So she is not like Juana, the slave. No, it's Juana María de Abonsa. It's a slave who has a godmother and has first names and last name. This one, mulatto libre, who want to marry a Gertrudes Avila, which is a mulatto slave. He is a free and he is a slave. And that mulata esclava asked his owner, Doña Josefa Leal, permission to get married. So there is a question. So he became a slave or she became free because of this? So there is a lot of questions, a lot of things that doesn't match with the official narrative that they were teaching us for centuries. Okay, so, and this is what happens, what we found in Spanish documents, those documents that nobody wants to read. I want to pass this because it's more or less the same. Okay. This is more a presentation for the mission books and let's go with the Presidio. That this is what you came for the Presidio, right? And so with this president, is when I thought I need to do something new. I need to start from scratch, white paper, and start again. Read everything, and was amazing. What I found in those 200 documents, more than 200. So, because this book is almost 400 pages long, but it was intended to be just one book. Well, when I got like 1,000 pages, I said, no, I have to split in two or maybe in three because those stories in those documents were so amazing that, and it's stories from your ancestors, were so amazing that there wasn't a way to cut it or to put the scissors where it was impossible. So I decided, okay, let's do it. I was focused in made a line of investigation about the missions because it's very important. And I wrote this for that organization in Spain, the Héroes de Cavite, because I didn't write anything in Spain. So, okay, let's do something fast for them about the Presidio. No, it was impossible to do something fast. So 25 chapters, and any chapter tells a new story against the official narrative, against. So there is not something that you can go to Wikipedia and say, okay, copy paste and that. No. Because I found a nightmare in every single chapter. And you will find it. So it's about documents. So list of documents. And you can find Archivo General de Indias, which is in Spain, Archivo General de la Nación, which is in Mexico City, Archivo de Hidalgo del Parral, maybe you know some of these. And Archivo General de Indias, there was some interesting Archivo Franciscano in the Biblioteca Nacional de México, which is different from the Archivo General de la Nación. Biblioteca Nacional de México is a library that they have inside the National Autonomous University of Mexico in Mexico City. Well, it's amazing what amount of documents they have about the Texas, Nuevo Mexico, California, everything, because it's Franciscan, and who took care of the natives in all those places, the Franciscans. And they have that not only the Franciscans but the Spaniards, they have that vicious to write everything. And not once, 6 times. And one copy go to Spain, and the other copy go to Mexico, and the other 6 times. So only in the Archivo General de Indias, in Sevilla, in Spain, we have like 90 million documents. So can you realize how we laugh when the American historians, they say, oh, we didn't find documents. Not really? No, it's documents. And we repeat the Archivo General de Indias in the Archivo General de la Nación in Mexico. And some of them are the same documents because they don't have, the printed photocopies, right? They cannot do photocopies, but they have escribanos, scribers, and they who are making copies. And some of them, they are the same document, but are some documents that are not, they didn't send the copy, or the copy was lost, or whatever. So we have a lot to choose. And we have another here important, the Spanish Archives of New Mexico. that they have some important documents, but they don't want to share. Okay? So I used all those documents. So it's not, no, I have an interest, I have a cease, and I want to tell Hispanic view of the history, and no, I didn't invent anything. I took care of all the documents that we have, everything, everywhere. The Huntington Library in San Marino, California. So I didn't stick only to the Spanish archives. I use everything. And about this book, I put it in the back, a quote of the first. I have a friend in Spain who is working also in Presidios, but he is a scientist, and he is very strict, okay, in all of this. And he said about the book, what I love in this book is that the author tells us a story not in a chauvinist, chauvinist way. So I didn't, and you will find, because I have my personal view from the documents from a special person in New Mexico history, which is Juan de Oñate. And it's not flowers and chocolate, right? Only documents. The Expediente Oñate. I found that I had to read this document, which is 4,000 pages long, in a way that is very difficult even for me, because after 1700, the scribers used a different calligraphy, very close to the current calligraphy. But before that, they used a different. So I needed to learn a new language, a new Spanish. So the Spanish, the meaning of the words, and more or less the same, but not the calligraphy. And that gives you headaches. I didn't want to use. I didn't want to put Juan de Oñate and New Mexico in the book, because there is a lot written in about it. So I wanted to do something new, but I was looking for a small thing to get the final proof about the Texas name. Okay. And some American historian, you know him, Bolton, said that in a document of Oñate, they recognized that the Texas name came from what I want to find. So I needed to read every single word in this 4,000 pages document, in this calligraphy, to find. I didn't find it. So Bolton made up. There is no proof for this, but my goodness, what I found in this made four chapters of my book, Presidio. So when I finished, I said, no, I have to put it, because it's changing the narrative. So I have to put it in my book, because it's changing the narrative. Don Juan de Oñate. Okay? So I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that this is the original writing of Oñate, because it's different from the rest of the calligraphy, right?
Not only that, he also has a rubric at the end.
Oh, yes.
So you would have to sign it personally.
Yes, but the rubric, I'm not sure about the rubric.
Right up here.
Ah, okay, yes. No, I thought that you were referring to this.
Yeah, no, he signs it, but it is different than the rest. The scribe,
Yes, yes.
the scribe space. Yes,
What is that document about?
About everything.
No, about
If you go to the archive, this is online.
just what it says there with Oñate's name on it. What is that about?
This is a part of the, I don't know in this moment. This is a part of the document, and we have 4,000 pages like this, telling everything, telling the the history of the conquest by Oñate, telling the judgment of Acoma, telling the 1,000 jura de, I don't know how to say that in English. Let's put in there the oath of allegiance of each of the pueblo by writing, and each one is like 20 pages. So this is one of them.
Let me ask you a very crucial question.
Let's go.
Here in New Mexico, they claim that Oñate cut off the foot of his enslaved Acoma Indians. Is that in the document?
Yes, yes, it is.
It is?
So what you want to know? The truth? You want to know the truth, even if it's hard for you? In these 4,000 pages is the judgment, is the witness, everything about the judgment, everything, the proofs, the witnesses, is the sentence, and Oñate himself is saying that he applied the sentence. So yes.
He did what to the sentence?
Apply the sentence.
Apply.
I don't know how to say in English. Execute the sentence.
So he did cut off the foot.
He did. And he is
What's the name of that document that you're referring to?
we have a document separated in 4 different documents, but this one is Expediente Oñate. And you can find it online in the Sistema Pares in Spain.
Is that referred to in your book?
Yep.
Okay.
I read somewhere a long time ago that he didn't really have the foot cut off. He had the toes cut off.
This is something that is not in the document.
It's not what?
It's not in the document. The document wasn't so specific. Oñate said in the document, I executed the sentences. So I know that there are a lot of people around here telling, I'm an expert, didn't read this document. I was amazed. Because it was hard for me to believe, because I didn't believe on that. I said, no, Oñate couldn't cut the feet.
Did he do it because of his nephews having killed there, or did he do it because he was afraid that the Indians would revolt all over the state, and he wanted to punish them so that they would not attack them?
Was how do you put that in English? From top to toe? From top to bottom was a mess. A mess. Because there are 25 witnesses in the judgment, but only 2 or 3 people came down from Acoma. You know what I'm saying? And at the bottom of Acoma, how many people were? Not 25. So he was the accuser and the judger from the very basic. And this is an Spaniard telling you this, okay? So I'm not being. That was a mess of judgment. He was the accuser. He was involved in the case because that the Acoma Pueblo, they killed his nephew. So he was personally involved in the case. He was accuser and he was the judge. And I'm not using the. You know what is the presentism? Is when you see when your moral standard, current moral standard, you see the things on the past. This is presentism. I'm not using presentism because in the past the Spanish law and didn't allow to do this.
In other words,
So
he
we,
ended up-
we today in the United States and in Spain, we are using the same code, the Roman code of laws that were applying 300 years ago or 500 years ago. So the same rules. So this is not presentism. This is that was incorrect. You cannot send your other nephew to take care of this. This is another mistake of Juan Doñate. I'm sorry to tell you this, but
We've always suspected. We have, a lot of us who study New Mexico history, we have, I myself expected that it is true, but I never knew of the truth. Like the lady behind me said, a lot of people were under the impression, and even some very historians here in New Mexico have said, no, it wasn't the foot, it was the toes.
I cannot answer this. The document is not saying that.
Yeah, and so, you know,
If I apply my common sense, probably will be only the toes. Because if you cut the feet from where the ankle, how this person could walk.
Well, they would die, they bleed out too.
So if I apply my common sense, but this is my opinion, I didn't see in the documents. I'm just reproducing the documents. This is the book. What this book is about is reproducing the documents. It's not a novel. It's not my history. Is the documents are saying that. This document has 4,000 pages. Obviously, I cannot put 4,000 pages in my book. So, in some cases, I reproduced the paragraph comma by comma, and in some cases, I made an extract of the document. Okay, this is what I did. But obviously in the Oñate. Can you believe that I have to read my book every day because there are so many things that is very difficult, and sometimes I read something. I wrote this. No, I can't believe it. So is the conquest of La Conquista del Nuevo México, page 109. And 109. Yes, so in the 109, I see that I use it because I will explain it just in a second. Let's put it this, because I knew that you were going to that. Well, no, I don't have that picture, but if you see the book has two ways to write. One is with cursive, the other one is with a standard letters. So the cursive is reproducing transcription, comma by comma, of the original.
The italics.
Yeah, that's the cursive.
Yeah.
And the others, that's mine. So it's something that I just make an extract of the 4,000 pages. Okay, that was just.
So it is, it's actually pretty clear that Oñate did cut something off for those because he was sent all the way to Spain to face trial. He was sent all the way. He was fined and so forth. So
I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe because it was not make any sense for me. Why to cut the feet? This is not something that the Spaniards do so often. So it's not in the rest of the documents, thousands of documents I read from a lot of different topics. This is not something that I found. Why I didn't want to believe until I found in the sentence. He executed the sentence. So
our historians didn't want to tell us all that because that's never, like Albert said, that's never come out. Now, there is one historian that did go further, Robert Torres. He was a state historian at one time. Now, he did uncover something that, I don't know if he's written it in the book, but he uncovered
Some people have said that they can't find it in writing in any of the history books. So therefore, it wasn't true.
I have an anecdote from San Antonio. In San Antonio, it's the same. Everywhere is the same in the United States. Everybody made up his own story, and oh my goodness. At least in Spain, we have an Academy of History. And if you have something new, you have to present, we say, a big changes, big proofs, right? So if you came in Spain with something new, the Academy values it and say, no, you are a moron. or no, you are doing a good job, okay, and they interact with you in this. Not in America. In America, there is not an academy of history. There are not a group of historians, because all of them are changing the history in his way, so in their way, so we have the documents, yes, we have it. And I'm being honest, telling you that he got the fit. Yes, because he did it. So why to lie about this? He did it.
No, I don't think we lie.
No.
I think we don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
But what I said, I didn't want to believe it.
The same as us.
I read it. What I did, put in my book. And it's not only with Oñate. It's with everything in New Mexico, because we have a lot in New Mexico. I didn't want to write about New Mexico at the beginning, remember? It was a fast book. Now, there is a lot of, we say, no te metas en ese charco, we say in Spanish. Don't step in on that, in the mud. So another thing about the Presidios. The Presidios is another story that they told. Those are castles. Those are fortresses. No, the Presidios is a group of soldiers. It's like a company. It's a company, a group of soldiers. We call it Presidios, 25, 50, or 100 soldiers that defend the territory. And why we think why that mistake? Because they say, okay, if the Americans made the fortress in the middle of the plains to fight the natives, and the Americans based on the Presidio soldiers, the Presidio soldiers should be the same than the Americans. Not. I'm sorry to say that, not. Because the Americans conquest the West by a military force. Was a military conquest. So you put 100 or soldiers, singles. Only the captain maybe took his wife with him, and they conquest military the West, not the Spaniards. The Spanish conquest was I don't know if you use that in English, populational conquest. So they established pueblos. They established pueblos with regular people, and they sent to them some settlers with families, with wives, acting as soldiers. So the Presidio soldiers were settlers and also soldiers. So the condition, the requirement to become a Presidio soldier was to have family. Sometimes they didn't have enough people to recruit, and they accepted youngs and singles, and those are the people that married the natives, for example, and intermix, because this is about Spanish history in America. Mix it. This is not something that happened with the British, with the English. They didn't mix. The Spaniards, they mixed. So basically, what we have, Santa Fe, right? You recognize Santa Fe. This is a map of Urrutia in 1767 that he made some maps of the different towns in the border, right? So we have San Antonio, right? And we have Santa Fe. What we have? They put 4 stakes, made the Plaza de Armas, and then build the town around the Plaza de Armas. So the Presidio is this. This is the governor house, and this is the house where they keep there's a small jail they have, the armory, all of that. This is the actual cathedral. The rest were the houses of the soldiers. So what they did a town. They didn't build a fortress. They didn't need a fortress. Because the Spanish conquest wasn't military. It was poblational. You need a town, and they established a town. And what the Spaniards have with the Presidio is not a military, but a police force to keep the peace in the territory, not to slaughter the natives. And this is totally different from the base, totally different. Santa Fe, 4 stakes, plum, 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 Plaza de Armas. And then around you put different, because this is in 1767, so the plan changed a little bit. But at the beginning it should be something like this, okay? The houses of the soldiers with a backyard to grow the cebollas and everything, okay? And we have three governments in Spanish administration. We have the military, the civil, and the church. And this is everything around, and it's the same in Spain. So you go to the old towns in Spain, you will find a Plaza de Armas, and you will find a church, you will find a civil government and a military government. It is the same. Exactly the same. No differences. So,
Yeah, okay. I've read a book from Spain that establishes if you wanted to be qualified as a qualified town or city. What did they call it? I forget. There's a word. You had to meet the requirements of establishing the Presidio, the church, the form of government, and then it had to be like just as you have it drawn in that map. And it showed diagrams of cities or towns in New Mexico, Mexico, and Spain, and it compared them, and they're all the same, like you said.
it depends, because many of those plans were just projects. They didn't become truth. And then I know the plan for San. Oh, look at this. Just 1 second, you will. Okay. I don't know if you see this. This is a plan, very square, totally a square, right, of San Antonio. So square. Okay, pass it. What page is?
31.
Oh, yeah. This is the plan, perfectly square. Why? Because it's the same than today. It's not the same. The people that is working behind a desk than the people working outside, right? So one thing is you draw in a paper, and one thing is the truth. And the truth is this. So it's very square. This is very square, but the truth is this. So everything you must to cross information with many documents and to get a correct analysis of that. And the problem that authors have in Spain, let me tell you what. So you are just looking at the documents, and the documents you see the square plan. But then you need to be, like I did, you need to be here. Yesterday I've been in El Morro, and after I've been in Acoma, I was late in Acoma. It's the third time I tried to see Acoma, and I cannot. And I'm doing research. I read the documents, and I need to see, okay, now, I was coming from, I didn't understand at first why they think of El Morro. Why they were in El Morro? From Santa Fe, it's very far. Why didn't go by other route? So yesterday I found it. I see all that valley, Malpais, okay? You know Malpais Valley? This is an ideal valley. So they go through the good point to the Colorado River and the Pacific coast. That was the route. But I didn't know. I needed to see it. I needed to watch it. And I was doing yesterday. Now, everything now makes sense. But in Spain, working, writing books, behind a desk, and if you took the books that are writing in Spain right now, and you go to the references page, you will find that many of the references are from American historians. So in the moment, because people today, even in Spain, they don't want to go to the documents. They want to make very fast books, profits, and that's it. But you need to go to the documents to get the truth. So the problem with Spain is, in 1821, the people in America decided to become independent and drop the flag, Spanish flag, and raise the Mexican flag. No, there are the same people, eh? I can assure you. No, not people from Mexico came to Nuevo Mexico. No, they were the same people. They just changed the flag, and that's it.
Yeah, because it wasn't Mexico had won its independence from Spain, and therefore it was not Newsweek anymore, but Mexico, and that's when we changed. A lot of the people from New Mexico.
I know.
We were so far north, we didn't know.
I know.
We continued to be Spaniards and not Mexicans.
I know, but I'm talking about what the historians are writing, not about the people living in the territory. About the historians, what they are writing, and the historians they say that. Okay, we lost America in Spain. We lost America, 1821. So why are we worrying about something that we lost? And they just decided not to write about America. Because they thought, okay, now they are Mexicans. The Mexicans will write about America. So it's their responsibility, right? But what happened that after 15 years, they lost, for example, Texas, and the Mexicans thought the same. And you go to Mexico right now, to the universities and the museum, they don't pay attention to the North, because that's something that they lost. And not only they've been stolen, right? They lost because they didn't pay attention to the North. So when someone robs from you, it's also your fault. Okay? Because you were in the wrong street, for example. So Keep in mind that, right? And the Mexicans thought the same. Oh, we lost this. The Americans will take care of that. This is what we have. The Americans took care of that narrative, yes, very well. For them. And now the Spaniards are quoting and using the American references that are very wrong. This is what is happening. And this is what I found from the very first day. For my very first investigation research here in the United States, I found what is going on here. So this is a total mess. Imagine that in history, more or less, in everywhere, everything is written. So for a historian or archaeologist like me, we have a very few topics to write about. But my goodness, coming here, the sky was open for me. Everything need to be rewritten because of the documents.
You're at home here.
I need how do you say, a clone machine, because I need 50 like me. You cannot imagine how big is the problem. Everywhere, in every topic. So, one point, the first Presidio until the 1700, they came with this. And you have this in the Santa Fe Museum of History. They didn't begin with this. So the history is telling us, dragones de cuera. First of all, there is not a single document from the Spanish period talking about dragones. This is something from the Mexican period. Okay? Mexican. If you look at the documents, and something that I'm looking with care, I didn't find. So they came with this. Imagine that Spain is coming here after 300 years of evolution, of military evolution. And they came with those, with those metallic things that covered them and all that. And they say, okay, this is expensive. Do you know how is Arizona, how is New Mexico in summertime? To wear all of these metallic things. So, and this is not useful against the arrows. So the complete armor, This is not useful against the arrows, because the arrows just rebound and go in a different way. So we need to bring, and they were looking in our own Spain for the old, how do you call that in English? Cota de malla, we say in Spain. Chainmail. They were looking for all of this around Spain, and they bring them because for 200 years nobody was making it. So they bring all of this to here because this is the best thing you can have against the arrows, not against the arquebus, not against the powder, because the powder go through the metallic, through this, but just against the arrows. So they bring, but the problem is that if you don't have artisans to make it a good one, once the soldiers were dying in the field, the natives took everything from them as a trophy, even this. So in one point, they said, okay, we need an armor, and what we have leather, so do something with leather, okay? And this is a substitution armor. This is not the original armor, okay? It's a substitution. But what we have is that historians are calling them the dragones de cuera, blah, blah, blah. This is something that became popular in the second quarter of the 18th century. So after 1725 is when they became popular. There is a General Alonso de Leon, who was the one in Monclova and the son that made Texas. And in the 1700s, he was wearing one of these because it was better than this one. So in that moment, he was the general, and he had both. And he decided to go with the cota de malla because it was more effective. So this is the original, the Presidio soldiers. In the 1550, so we have cota de malla, gray, you see the gray color, right? Cota de malla, helmet with and a collar, and the only thing that has a cuera was the horse. Okay? This is something very important for the Presidio, where they were accompanied always with natives friends. In a number, sometimes about for 20 soldiers, 200 natives. But the point is that the documents is showing where I was. That was yesterday. I don't remember because I was in Mesa Verde up north, and yesterday at the Morro, looking at the things they have there, and they were saying that the Coronado came to the north with his soldiers, blah blah blah, and with oh yes, this is something that you can find in Bernalillo. Bernalillo, yes, in the Coronado campground. That is not Coronado. It's only a native town, but they say Coronado because it brings more visitors than. So there was a thing that Coronado came here with his soldiers and maybe 2,000 native slaves. Always. Is native? Should be a slave. This is not true, because the documents are saying that the natives going to help the Presidio soldiers were paid 2 reales per day. 2 reales per day. So 2 reales in 8 days, in just more than a week, you have 2 pesos. And 2 pesos is the worth of a cow. Yeah, so just to make you the idea of, they were paying. The Indians.
Okay, so
The Indians, and they were having the long bow because they were infantry. You cannot shoot the long bow in a horse. You need to be infantry. And when they decided, they just left the expedition and go back to the pueblo. No, I have enough money. I need to take care of my cementera, of my crowds. Yes. They were paying.
one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most untruths that people believe here in New Mexico, and our historians, we have a lot of historians that have written about that the Spanish used the Indians as slaves. As a matter of fact, one of our ex-state historians.
The new one?
No, not the new one.
Because the new one.
He also, state historians have been saying that the Spanish took advantage of the Indians, used them as slaves, and raped and killed the women and the children, I don't think you can find anything to that in the documents. Where they come up with that, and it really upsets me, especially when they say that the Spanish had the Indians as slaves. When, like you say now, you have proof in the documents that they were paid. And
8 reales is a peso, and they were paying 2 reales a day, and it's not just one in one document; it's in several documents. So because they have a narrative, and this is the same. I've been educated. You know that the leftists in Spain are now with the government, and is sorry about that, but it's the same shit that we have here. And I've been educated in that system that point us, that give us the idea that we were, my sister, I'm younger 21 years than my sister. She could be my mom. Well, I remember when I was a kid looking at those Western movies, because we were educated in Spain as Americans, but they double our films and our cartoons and everything. But we are in the same culture, just speaking a different language. So in those, we see the natives just scalping, right? And I remember those words because I found just the opposite. Just the opposite. That, no, my sister told me, no, the Spaniards taught the natives to scalp the... And this is something that I get in my mind since I was a kid. And well, I found the proofs, and you get it in the books. Not once, 4 times, 4 different chronicles, in different that the natives were already scalping the enemies, because they took the scalp as a trophy. So we, in Spain, we were taught in that way. We did very bad things in America, blah, 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 blah. And I choose to be a prehistorian in very old times because it was amazing. Nothing related to the black legend, that famous black legend, nothing related to the recent history of Spain. So that was comfortable for me. And I had the idea, I'm moving to America, so I don't know in what I'm gonna work, because we have this, that we did something bad in America, and I don't know if I could find a job or a work to do, a topic to study. Okay, it's with J or it's with X. Pull the thread, and document after document. And I found a paradise of documents telling just the opposite of what happens. So I'm working on the translation. I don't know when we got it. I want a very good translation, and my English is not perfect. So I'm working with a professional translator from the Texas State University, but he is very busy and is working slow. Okay, because I don't want this one is in Spanish is a very good book, not because of me, but because of the stories that is inside. And I want the same good translation to be understood, because yes, it's a good book. I made it strong, it's very good in the shelf. Okay, but I want it to be read, because every single chapter. Do you know who is Luis de Carvajal? So Luis de Carvajal, if you go to the Wikipedia, you will see that guy is a enslaver of natives, and I found in the documents that this is just the opposite. So there were a competition between different power Spanish in Americas. And they were denouncing each other because they wanted to like today. If you hear the vice president today with the Trump, and you took that in 1,000 years, or 500 years, you took that as a proof of the history of the United States. This is not correct. So that happens in Spain. Hernán Cortés, for example, Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán, which was a very bad guy. We have our black piece, yes, and we have to recognize it. Why? Because Spain didn't do that. Was Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán, who were killing natives in. So, there are some, mass killers in the American history. All the Americans are like this? No, obviously. Not even the country, not even the government, not even. So why we call Spain as a responsible of everything when only the people with last names, the first names and last names did it, and they were like Oñate, they were caught, they were judged, and they were condemned. So this is the thing. So Luis de Carvajal, for example, this is a guy. And Gaspar Castaño de Sosa. I have a chapter of Gaspar Castaño de Sosa. And you don't know who is Gaspar Castaño de Sosa?
Who?
Gaspar Castaño de Sosa.
Yes, I have a book on it. I haven't read it, but I have a book.
You have to read it because it's amazing what he did, even before Oñate. And Gaspar Castaño de Sosa was treated by the Viceroy as a criminal and was not. And we had the proofs in the documents. Okay? And that's the same with Luis de Carvajal. And who else?
You mentioned Carvajal.
Mm-hmm.
The Carvajal, many of us have the Carvajal lineage here in Mexico. And we know that the name Carvajal was a Sephardic Jew. And I've traced their lineage all the way to Mexico City to Luis Carvajal. And I have found original documents that are in a very prestigious college or university here in the United States. And where they almost literally stole the documents about Luis Carvajal, and the university bought the documents.
Don't say almost.
They did.
They did.
And for anyone that's studying that lineage of Carvajal leading to Luis Carvajal, who was the first Carvajal to come to the Americas, there is a document in there, an original document that the university has placed on the internet. That is the original diary, his diary in his own handwriting in 3 languages. He wrote in Spanish, Portuguese, and
Hebraic. Hebreo.
The Jewish language, what do they call it?
Yeah, we call it Hebreo in Spanish. Hebraic, no? In English. Hebraic.
Yeah, he wrote in 3 languages. Yeah, Jewish language, Spanish, and Portuguese language.
Well, I didn't use that for this book, but if you point me to the document, I will appreciate.
I will.
Yeah.
When I can pull it up, I'll let you know. I'll email you, send you an email. But it's a document that is about that thick. And you will go bananas.
Alegajo.
You will go, just, I couldn't read it. I could read a little bit of the old Spanish script. The Portuguese is difficult.
So the one like the Oñate document.
I couldn't read is it Hebrew?
Hebrew.
Yeah, Hebrew language. That's
Yeah, it's complicated. And they write from right to left.
yes.
Well, let's keep a little bit more. So the Indians started to use horses.
Say that again?
Horses. They used to use, they started to use horses. But the long bow, you cannot pass from one side to the other side of the horse. Okay? So they started to change by the short bow, and in an horizontal way they use it. And this is the adarga that you have in the Santa Fe and the chimal. So many of the soldiers were mestizos or were Christian Asisa Indians. So in some cases, they were very bad equipped. This is something that happens with the crown in Spain for a long time. And so they started to use also the bows and the arrows that they found in the field when they fought against the natives.
I understood that they wore 6 layers of deerskin under their uniform. It was not a uniform, it was his jacket made out of 4 or 7 layers of deerskin. Is that correct?
Even 7. But I will. Remember that at the end, we are about the end. At the end, I will show you something about that. So the natives started to ride horses, and they ride very well, and even better than the Spaniards. You know that. But the reason was that the Spaniards with all of this equipment, with all of this, they put 400 pounds over the horse, more or less. Yeah. And the natives put nothing. And they were skinny, and so when they made some attacks and just left, the Spaniards didn't even try to catch them because they were very far from the attacking.
Where do you get your proof that the Indians dressed that way when the Spaniards?
No, this is a modern. And this is a picture, so it's modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you must have gotten it from a document, did you? How they dressed?
Yeah.
Did they use crossbows?
Crossbows? What is that? I don't.
No, that's the one with the cable. The modern.
It's modern. No, I don't. The only thing they used was. Yeah, and there is Alonso de León el Padre, the elder, that is describing beautifully the natives in the Chichimeca, which is north of Mexico City. And he describes even the ways of fight of the natives, and sometimes they didn't use the chimal. Chimal is the round defense, so they use just like an of arrows. They took like 6 or 7 arrows in his fist, right? And like como un abanico, how do you say that? Like a fan, and they were putting the arrows away when the arrows came to them. So we have documents for everything. You cannot imagine. It's amazing. Sometimes I start a new document. Okay. And I started, oh my goodness. And you know that moment when your
Stands on it.
yeah. Yeah, because you are reading, and you will find in the book. The book is translating you, is transporting you to that time, to that place, in the words of the. So, but this is something modern. This is something at the end of the 19th century, right? Or the beginning of the 20th century, but it will be more or less the same. Those are from Acoma, right?
The reason I made mention about if you had that document on how they dress, because if you talk to the modern Indian today, they deny that they dress like that.
Yeah, I know.
They've always had the ribbon shirts, and they've always had nice
full colors and.
And I tell them that's a fantasy that the Indians have. And in reality, when the Spanish came, they dressed like your picture.
Someone asked me something a couple of weeks ago in an interview, and do you support the idea that the culture, you know, the cowboys and all, the beginning was with the Spanish time or something like that? And I said, not at all. Not at all, because the Spanish, they use a dagger and a lance and a sword. They didn't use Colts or Winchesters. They didn't have it. So the Spanish Western is totally different of the what fantasy you have, and it's the same with the natives. I didn't tell you because this is a complicated thing, and sometimes I got problems with that. because they don't want to assume, not in America, but in south of the Rio Grande, and the natives were common cannibals. Cannibals. How do you call it?
Cannibals.
They were cannibals. In a regular way, the diet of them, and this is something that you will find in the book, because it's related by the documents. And they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to write. They don't want to talk. They are saying, no, it was a ritual. No, it wasn't a ritual when captain soldiers with some soldiers go through a native village of the Tepehuanes. No, I don't have the map. The Tepehuanes, and the Tepehuanes was one of the worst. And they fly away. They left away. They huyeron. How would you say that? They fled. They fled, and then the captain, the friar, and some soldiers going through that village. They go inside a jacal, big jacal, and the count is 1,300 plus schools. There, and it's the document. The document is telling you. You're saying, "Oh my goodness!" And there was also a big casserole, and they were cooking people, and in the middle of the town, they had a steak, and the rest of the guy were on the steak. This is what the documents are saying. And they don't want to talk because they want to keep that idea of the natives. No, they were pure, and the bad Spaniards came here with the diseases and they kill everybody. But this is not the truth. So it's the same story about that, but it's the same with the Pope Woe. Okay, it's the same. They are celebrating good. You celebrate, but. So you are celebrating with the American flag? You claim to be natives, and you are celebrating with the American flags? Really? We need to talk about Wounded Knee and about all of these places. You don't want to talk about that. It's and the Pope Woe, this is beautiful, and I understand. This is beautiful, that they are dresses like full colors and they are celebrating, but this is not how the natives were dressing in that days. So, what I'm saying, I love movies, but don't believe it. So one thing is history, and the other thing is, one thing is what you see in our days. Other thing is when you go to the history, right? Well, this is this is the three ways that the Presidio soldiers came. This Juan Bautista de Anza were there, and Santa Fe, Oñate, but more than Oñate is not a Presidio. He didn't found a Presidio. Was later, and the way to the three Caminos Reales. Something that will explain you how a Presidio was. Presidio San Antonio de Béjar, actual currently San Antonio, right? This is the role, and you know it. You have it, right? You made your homework, and you have it. The roster of the Presidio soldiers. How many there were? The guardia en el Presidio, in guard in the Presidio, right? 10 people. 10 people stay at the Presidio, at the San Antonio, maybe resting or maybe whatever. Destacados en el situado de su caballada. 34 people. So only 34 people were taking care of the horses. Because the horses was the principal objective of the natives, to take the horses, to stole the horses. 34 people. The total, 72. O sea, more than a half than the soldiers were just taking care of the horses. We have escoltando al habilitado que ha pasado a San Luis por el situado. Well, translating this to you, they were escorting some official of the Spanish government. 6 people. Because they need to do that. They had a lot of jobs to cover. Another with the Correo Real, the courier. And you cannot send just a soldiers, okay, take this bag and go to Monclova. No, you need to put 7 soldiers for the Correo. De remonta para comprar caballos. So 10 people were sent to some place to buy horses. Okay? So at the end, tambor y armero, the drummer and the armor repairing the arms, right? Enfermos, 3 people. Ill, 3 people. So we have at the end that how many Presidio soldiers going now to the field? 10, 12, 20? Not more. So explain me. This is for a whole land like Texas. Texas is even bigger than Spain. And you have 72 people taking care of the land, such a big land, and 10 or 12 or 20 getting out to defend or to what they were doing, annihilating the Apaches. Really, is that the? How could the Spaniards, the Presidio soldiers, could annihilate all the natives in America? They are talking. No, there were 100 millions. 100 millions in America of natives, and the Spaniards, they kill everybody. They kill them all.
They use...
With these numbers? No, come on.
Here in New Mexico, in the group of... there's a group of organization called the Red Nation. And there is another group that they're called the Three Sisters. These are Native American, and one of their main things that they say, and it's even they're talking about before this period, that the Spanish were creating genocides. And
I know.
And how could 76 soldiers kill thousands of Indians, and they claim that the Spanish were creating genocides is totally ridiculous.
Pedro de la Cruz, de Nación Tlaxcalteca, Presidio soldier. Marcial Gabriel, Indio Tlaxcalteca, de Parras, soldado. So, one thing, and I almost forgot, and I didn't want to forget that because we are in New Mexico, and I wanted to tell you this. About let's finish with this. You don't have 72, you have 20. So now, let's guess these 20 people in front of 2,000 Apaches. What they are going to do?
Or more.
What they are going to do? Negotiate a lot. And this is what happens in the Spanish America. Negotiating, talking, and please give me the perpetrators of the crime. I don't want to kill you, everybody. I only want the 2 or 3 that made that thing. Because you need to be good and blah, blah, blah. Negotiating. Continuously negotiating, because we didn't have numbers. Spain didn't have numbers to do that. So, you know this, right? The Palace of the Governors in Santa Fe. You know that Governor Otermin, what's your opinion about Otermin?
What?
Otermin. What's your opinion about Otermin? What do you know about him? What do you think about
He
Otermin?
was the one that led the Pueblo Revolt. He led the Spanish forces against the Pueblo Revolt Indians.
Well, this is a true hero in San Antonio, in Santa Fe.
I'm sorry?
This is a true hero in New Mexico and in Santa Fe. Even bigger than Oñate, than Vargas, this is a true hero. And how the narrative is treating him is the worst of the worst. No, Termin is a coward, blah, blah, blah. No, the point is this. They are telling you the story that the natives revolt against the Spaniards. So Otermin took all of them down to the Rio Grande till El Paso. When they came to El Paso, there was a roster was made. Out of 2,500 people, only 20 has white blood. The rest were almost 1,000 were Christianized natives. No, in this case, the natives, they were natives. And how they are telling you the story? No, they were Spaniards, and we kicked them all out of here. No, it was a revolt because of that famous Pope, and he revolted some Indians against other Indians. Some Indians that live like they wanted against the other Indians that live like Spaniards because they wanted. So who's the bad guy here?
Okay.
Of course.
The other Indians that you're speaking of that he was against were the Presidios Indians.
So.
And it was his own people that killed him.
Yeah.
At the end.
At the end. So how they are selling you this story? No, the natives invited the I'm reading this in the magazine of the Santa Fe Museum magazine, telling the Pueblo Revolt. The natives invited friendly the Spanish to leave the house, please. Friendly. The documents are saying that in that revolt, the natives killed in the ranchos, in the houses, everywhere they kill 450 persons. This is not friendly. No, not at all. They kill women and children, and they kill everybody.
Mostly women and children.
Women and children, because
21 Fridays.
and 21 friars. I'm making a bag with everything. Yes, 450 people. And in an institution like the Santa Fe Museum, History Museum, they are telling this, come on, please. So you are a big liars. At least. You are a big liars. I'm sorry. The truth is only one way.
You need to go to the Albuquerque Museum, too.
Yeah. Everywhere. No, that's a thing that I find everywhere, sadly. Well, after 9 days, they were 9 days here, all those 1,000 people that only with a few Spanish soldiers, and 1,000 were natives and women and children. They were 9 under siege here. The natives cut the water. So the water came here, no more water. They were drinking the blood of the animals for 9 days. So after 9 days, Otermin said, let's get out. I prefer to die in the field than in here by starving. So Otermin gets out. He was wearing a cuera. And the natives shoot him, and the cuera saved him with the arquebus shot. My interpretation is that that shot was made far. okay? Because if not, it's very difficult that Aguera just stop an arquebus shot, okay? So they get out, attack the Indians in Santa Fe with what he left, and they kill around 400 natives. And then the same day, they could get out of the palace and go down to Albuquerque, and all right? So we have almost 1,000 people that died for nothing, according to the Museum of Santa Fe. Because no, the natives, they invited friendly to the Spanish to live. I have a job thanks to this, because you are idiots. Is the only thing you can call someone that is making up something like this? They are idiots. This is not better to just, okay, this is the truth, we accept the truth, we act according to the truth, and let's see. And that's it. I don't owe nothing to my ancestors, nor any other person. I only owe things to me, what I did. So read the documents, present. But no, you are lying, guys, in the museum. In Del Morro, you are lying. In Bernalillo, they are lying. I don't understand why. What they think, that no one is coming like me here proving documents and saying you are liars? This is something that only works for my friends here.
Just a quick question. So what you just said about the Pueblo revolt, is that in your book, Presidios Soldiers? Okay. For New Mexico, there are like 5 chapters that you will find amazing. Very good. We need to know some truth.
I just want to mention that during the COVID, Dr. Sydney Seymour, she's a professor of archaeology here at UNM. She also worked for the Petroglyph Park. And she got permission to do, during the COVID time, because of the downtime, to do the excavation of the Coronado, I guess the area the Coronado camped out outside of Tucson. So she was able to get permission, and I guess supposedly some money to be able to do that during the COVID period. And she wanted to see how more information about Coronado and that whole expedition. And so she said that she's come up with information that shows that Coronado and his soldiers were really brutal to the Native Americans. And, however they study the outlines and the food and the bones and all. But she hasn't yet. I've been waiting to see if she wants to do a publication. And it hasn't come out, but her presentation to us was extremely negative in terms of Coronado and his soldiers and what they did.
I know.
And very favorable to Native Americans. So out of what the dig was, I thought it was pretty interesting that they were able to really vilify that whole experience. And I want to see what her publication is going to be. Just thought I'd share that's coming. But I also know that the U.S.
It's what we have for 200 years. So
Yeah, but also now that in this contemporary time, federal government sponsors a lot of research, and they really encourage the research, whatever it is, historic research, to really have a focus on the Native American in a positive way. And so it seems like all of the RFPs that they're wanting is wanting to have that kind of a slant. And I suppose that's kind of a motivator for them. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. Because here we are, another study from credentialed people who can sway the opinion and the story.
But the problem is that they are showing opinions, not documents.
Yeah.
So I'm working as a professor in the Texan Lutheran University in Seguin, in Texas. But before that, I was working as a substitute teacher. I don't know if they were kind of afraid of me or something like that. And they didn't want to give me more responsible work. Okay, no problem. And one day, at the very beginning, 2015 or so, I was having a history teacher, and I just passed a history book of what the main point of that chapter in the Coronado trip was the native El Turco, the Turk. So the whole book, the whole lesson, that lesson about Coronado was only about the poor native that was killed by Coronado because he was, and he confessed that I was carrying you again, all the planes, just to get you all starved and died of starvation. So, okay, poor guy. But he was trying to kill more than 1,000 people. And the person in charge in that moment say, okay, I'm gonna kill you. I'm just presenting the facts. And that the problem with those people in American, that is they are presenting personal interests, politics interests, and all of that. And this is very sad. This is very sad. Because, let me put it in that way. So Americans, and I am American. I'm born in Madrid, but since 5 years I'm a citizen, okay? Americans, we are so proud that we are bringing the democracy to the world and blah, you know what, blah, 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 blah. And you are judging Spain because 500 years ago execute a death penalty to a guy for trying to kill 1,000 or more people. You are shocked because of that. Today, 2024, we have death penalty in the United States. So just don't talk too much. Okay? Don't talk too much. Because the moral controversy here is... Okay? So that's the point. And I'm just keeping my point, trying to not make myself in troubles, but this that's what we are suffering in our days.
Let me clarify something. Okay, the cannibalism was from Mexico down, not
It's south of the Rio Grande.
south of the Rio Grande.
Why? Let me explain you.
Okay.
Because it's not a ritual. They're trying to sell it like it's a ritual. But the only ritual is that some priest on top of the Mexican pyramid kill people and just eat some part of the heart. Okay, but after that, they cut the head. They put the head in a stake with thousands and tens of thousands of other more people, and then they kick off the body till the end of the base of the pyramid, and at the base of the pyramid, they eat those corpses, the people. So this is not ritual, and they are saying blah blah blah, and the point is that we found the skulls, yes. We know that there were tens of thousands of people killed by the ritual because we found the skulls, but we didn't find the corpses. So what they did, and the documents are saying that they ate them. So I'm going against the archaeological proofs, against the books, against the documents. Come on. And that happens south of the Rio Grande Valley. Why? Because south of the Rio Grande Valley, the nature is kind of harsh. And if you know that, they didn't have cibolas. They didn't have buffaloes. And it's quite easy to hunt a human than a buffalo. You know the buffalo. You put an arrow on the buffalo, and the buffalo start to run. Boom, 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 boom. For 10 miles, At the 10 miles, the women had to go these 10 miles to just, how do you say, slaughter or to cut to prepare, and another 10 miles back to the the only thing you need to hunt a human is to have a big force. Because you insult a human and the human is coming to you. And you have 60 kilos to put on your casserole. And that happens in Mexico, north of Mexico. It's what I study. I study north of Mexico to Rio Grande Valley. Yes. But south of Mexico, I didn't study that. I think it's the same, more or less. But the problem is that they were overpopulated, and the nature wasn't so good with them. The nature didn't give them a lot of products and all of that. So they need to eat something, and they eat people. In the coast, in the Mexican coast, they eat alligators, crocodiles. They could fish, but not in that part. So they were doing cannibalism. And they don't want to accept that. And we were friends, and each one will show the documents, and everything will be okay. But if you are lying for some reason... Well, one of the documents, before... in that time, the maps weren't so accurate. So they use the maps as a storytelling. We have here the Tepehuanes, and they are consuming corpses. They are consuming people. And they were using even how do you call it, tendons, or... the tendon is like cuerda. ¿Cómo es cuerda?
Cuerda is knot.
Yeah, but not a knot, but a cord. They were using the tendons as a cord to tie the arrow points to the arrows. Okay, they were using the animals of the deers and all of that, but they didn't have deers because they already eaten the deers. So they were using human tendons.
Human what?
Tendons.
The tendons, the nerve.
The nerve. So, no, there is no documents. I don't want to see documents. I don't want to read documents, but we have everything on documents. I'm sorry. About the scalp. Traen colgadas por detrás las cabelleras de las coronas que quitan, y algunas han sido de mujeres hermosas, con cabellos rubios y bien largos. So, that was made in 1550, and it's Gonzalo de las Casas, a friar, who is telling this, but I have 3 more chronicles from different places telling the same. So yes, the natives were using the scalping long before the Spanish came here. Yeah. And now in Spain, they are kind of crazy as well, and they are saying, they are trying to put everything on the British. No, the British were... This is not the truth, and I'm saying the same to them. This is not the truth. And no, the British taught the Indians to the scalping. No, because the British came here 100 years later than the Spaniards. So, and the Spaniards are referring this. Okay, so I will believe, for example, if the natives in the French part of Canada, they started to cut the heads with a guillotine. Okay, the French are doing this. So they taught the natives to do that. But nobody in Europe was scalping. Nobody. There is not a tradition in Europe to scalp. We have different traditions to kill people, but not the scalping. And there was 4 chronicles, Spanish chronicles coming here that were in shock. Okay, the natives are doing this. And they tell us in the documents. So that means that weren't taught by the Spaniards of the other Europeans. They were doing that for centuries or maybe millennia, I don't know. Okay? Everything is in the documents. I finish with this. How we know the history? Because of that. Because Hollywood. Hollywood is telling us the history of what we have here. This is Apocalypto, how's the name? Mel Gibson film. You know that? Mel Gibson? Apocalypse, or I don't know the name in. So, violence from minute zero till the end, right? Violence. Yeah, violence. This is the story of the natives? No. This is not the story of the natives. The natives, okay, they were doing this, yes. This is what I mean. No head, no heart. That corpses is going down to the pyramid, and then the people down the pyramid is consuming the corpses. We don't have the corpses. We don't have the bones. We only have the head. Don't know what is the head. Okay? So they were doing this. Accept it. This is the only thing I'm asking. Accept it. Don't try to sell. But natives were also this. Normal people living in his houses, and so why to show a film from minute zero to minute till the end only violence? They were also normal people. This is what history tells. What films want is different. Films want this. So now, when we are talking about that, the Apaches were the most formidable warriors, and that's true, but they were killing every single soul walking through his territory. And that's it. They were killing everybody. Now they are in communication with the animals. No, this is something that never happened. They use the animals because it's in the mind of every single human in the past 1 million years. We use the animals. When the animals don't are of use, we eat them. And that's it. So why the lies? I don't understand why the lies. No, they weren't communicating with the horses. They were stolen the horses of the Spaniards in the missions, in the Presidios. And if some horse they couldn't take it, they killed it. Like this. It's something rare for a human that loves animals, right? But we have Avatar, and we have all of these films that, they ask for permission, for pardon to kill I'm gonna eat you, but I'm asked for your pardon. No, this is not something that happens. So, Apaches were killing around 2,000 buffaloes a day because they get the hides and trade the hides with the French with fossils, guns or
Weapons.
rifles. My goodness, sorry, rifles and alcohol. Why didn't trade with the Spaniards with alcohol? Because the Spaniards forbid to sell the natives alcohol. They didn't want to sell alcohol to the natives, and we have it in the documents. But the natives already consume alcohol because they have the peyote and they have the mezcal and they have all that. And this is something the beer, and this is something that you put some flour. No, is the yeast. You put yeast in some fruits and you get alcohol. This is something that the humans learned even before the seeds something. So the natives were doing alcohol, but they wanted the easy that you go to the French post and get a box of alcohol. You don't need to work to do it. So they were killing the buffaloes. They weren't in marriage with the buffaloes. They were humans. So we need to accept that they were humans. And in any other part of the globe, of the planet, they were acting the same. But now, now we got this. This is my last one. We got this. What's the difference? What's the difference in these two pictures?
The lady dress.
There is no differences. So those are a family of natives from Coahuila. Those are Spaniards from Asturias. For about the same thing. No differences. This is what Spain brings to America. Spain brings Spain. That's it. And how they were living in Spain, they put it in America. And the natives were different in all America. No one group was the same. They were in different evolution, not in the same. Okay, so something that is kind of difficult to admit, for example, for the Comanches, that the contact with the Spanish works very well with the Chichimecas. The Chichimecas were eating each other. So they bring friars, they teach them how to live as Spaniards, to grow crops, blah, 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 all of this. But probably this is not what the Comanches were asking for. The Comanches or the Apaches were asking for a free thing, and doesn't work. So one thing that we cannot do is that, okay, the Spaniards did this for everybody and for the whole time. No. Something works with some of them, and something didn't work. So to use that generalization, and this is what the American historiography is doing, is generalize. They put the thing that happened with Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán, okay, in the Nueva Galicia conquest, that he was very rude, very brutal, put in the same that in the late 18th century, when the Spaniards need to go to the Indian town, camp 2 miles outside of the camp. The order was that the captain of the Presidio and one friar go alone, go to the Indian camp, ask for permission to camp outside, and ask for permission to communicate with them. Is very different one from the other. Okay? And if you put this, you generalize the exceptions that came in these 300 years. This is what they are doing. And this is not the truth. This is lying. And I finish with that. If you have questions?
Where do we start?
Jorge, thank you very much. Our lecture today was a little longer than usual, but it was very, very interesting. Yes. You brought to us a good education of things that we didn't know or took for granted. And I just want to let the people know.
I left a lot. So.
Yeah, maybe we can have him back again for another time. I just wanted to mention that he has these books. They're for sale on the Presidio book, like he indicated, is being translated to English. And after it's printed, it will be available through Amazon. Through Amazon. So if you want to buy the book in English, you can buy the book in Spanish for $35 today. The other book.
Sign it. I can sign it today.
And so with that, again, thank you very much. And I'll tell Martha that you did a good job, and send our best regards to her. Thank you.
Thank you.